Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my fascinating interviews. So today we are going to be talking to a lovely young lady about natural health because we're looking for solutions on this show. We've been looking at all sorts of problems and now it's time to have a look at some of the solutions. And of course we know that over the last 3 years we've gone through a very strange period with the NHS. It is of course the place that has become absolutely sacrosanct. Apparently we're not allowed to touch it, we're not allowed to think that there's any other way. But of course there are plenty of other ways. We may not trust our GPs, we may not trust these big institutions anymore, and we may be thinking, what the devil do we do? Not the devil, what the hell, not the hell, what shall we do? See, I've got to be so careful with your words these days. So I'm very pleased, ladies and gentlemen, to bring Althea Finch to your attention. She is a natural therapist. She is otherwise known as the pain-free specialist. Hello, Althea.
Hello, Richard. How are you?
I'm very well. Garbled my way through the introduction, as I very often do, because I want to get to the main event, and this is you. Thank you so much for contacting me and telling me about what you do, although I don't know in great detail what you do. But the thing that fascinated me was that you were saying maybe there is another way other than, for those people in the UK, the NHS. And that's what we want to explore today. So can you tell me, what is a natural therapist?
A natural therapist? Well, there are many different kinds of natural therapists. So I can only sort of say my journey and the colleagues I've come across. I have been a natural therapist for 30 odd years, and I like natural healing, natural therapy. I started my career learning reflexology, shiatsu, acupressure, Chinese massage, and all sorts of lovely things, all holistic things. And my very first course I did was actually a standard Swedish massage course. Nothing wrong with that, but for me it wasn't deep enough. It was just like the surface, just the muscles and what you do and to help people. And I knew very quickly it wasn't enough. I wanted to kind of really connect to somebody. I wanted to really get to somebody on a deep level.
So in the past, when people have said, I mean, and we're going back sort of 10, 20 years, you know, when I was a much younger, naive person and somebody was talking about these natural types of therapies, it's particularly acupuncture, and you think, oh, do I want to be like a pincushion? Does it really work? And I was very, very skeptical. Of course, in recent times and in recent situations, we're all looking for different solutions. So tell me, these therapies clearly do work, otherwise you wouldn't be doing them, but you wouldn't have returning clients coming back saying, oh blimey, you've got rid of all those pains in my back or whatever it is. So there is some sort of real founding to this, because I know the NHS, and when you go to doctors, they sort of wince a bit if you say, should I look for alternative medicine? Because they've been just brought up in this very narrow mindset that it's basically chemicals, which may have some rather awful side effects, that will pretty much do it, or it's very intrusive, cut you open and sort it out that way. So tell us a little bit about how it is that these natural therapies actually work.
Well, it's the whole system of your whole system is not just physical. And what the Western medicine does is it looks at, you find your symptoms, what's going wrong with you, like there's something going wrong with you. And then you have to have, as you said, you know, medication or operations or therapies. And this in itself is not healing. None of it's healing, because you're not working with your system. So the whole kind of the massive difference is that you look at yourself holistically, the whole of you. So, for example, one lady, she came to me with awful back pain, and I was working in the clinics at that time, and she had had months of back pain. She'd been to the doctors, she'd had MRI scans, she'd been checked, and you know, massaging helped, but she was still suffering back pain. And I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. Your body's just one piece of you. You're not just a physical thing, are you? You're not just your back. And for her, I probed a little bit more, and she said that she was paying off 2 mortgages, not even one, but 2.
I mean, poor woman.
I know. And she had some sort of work ethic of, you just work like a stink until your back hurts.
Right.
So there's story there. Why is she doing that? Why does she need two mortgages? Why does she even need one mortgage? Why does she have to work till she gets back pain? So when you look at the whole picture, it completely makes sense. And it makes sense why, if you just look at the symptoms and you only try to alleviate your symptoms,
Mm.
it might help a bit, but they can't go like that, because that's not why they're there.
It's not
They're
the
not.
cause, is it? Not the
It's
cause
not
of the
exactly.
problem.
Exactly. You have to look at, first the symptoms. Like, I see the symptoms as like an alarm system.
Mm.
Like, if you step on a thorn, you're going to feel pain, and it's like an alarm system, and it doesn't want you to sort of debate it or fix the pain. It's an alarm system for a reason. You're standing on a thorn, so it wants you to. You're telling yourself and your nerves and everything to look at a problem and sort the problem with the root cause. Take the thorn out, do something to stop the infection, rest, pick your foot up, don't do that again.
Yes.
You know? And
I mean,
so you don't look at just the symptoms, you look at the whole picture. So that for that girl, she has to look at what's she doing that for? What's the connection? And with what I do with my method, it's much more on the moment, immediate than that. You look at the symptoms that's coming up at you. So if you've got stress or physical conditions or back pain or squash vertebra or whatever it is, so that's the first port of call. And when you connect with that, it automatically links you to all the reasons it's there. So then when you connect to those things, then your symptoms can't come back. The reason it's there is gone.
yes. So,
So
because
it's the mystery.
when you go to your GP, you don't have a lot of time. You know, they're so under pressure, and they're trying to get people through like a conveyor belt, and then give them the pills and get them out. And maybe, if you're lucky, you see the same GP within the next 25 years or whatever, because they continually change. Presumably, what you're saying is that you need to spend time and in that initial consultation, I'm imagining, so that you get the whole picture and understand how that cause has happened and then over time developed into a symptom.
Yeah, that's the deeper learning. So with my method, you start to be pain free from day one. So as soon as you start to use the correct actions, your body works straight away. But then that's the deeper stuff, is what you said. That's really important, because sometimes people come to me and they want sort of a quick fix, which is brilliant, and they'll get that. But you have to address the reason it's there. So then that comes, to understand your triggers, what creates you, why, how did it develop to that, and see your triggers. Like one lady I was treating, she had really bad back pain that the doctor was offering her painkillers endlessly, and she was facing an operation. And so with me, she started to get pain relief, and she got 70% improvement, but it hadn't quite gone. So it wasn't until months later that it clicked with her, that she realized that these patterns in herself, in her past, in her life, were directly affecting her back. So when she got that, when she really realized that, then she made different decisions about.
Right.
She changed. She got it. She mentally got it. So you can definitely get pain free, but then you have to address the reason, and it's there, and then you have to allow those to release, or come to terms, or come to peace. Really, is what you're doing, is coming to peace, coming to alignment.
Right. And some of that is in changing your lifestyle, is it?
It can be, but you don't. Like that girl, she started to get pain relief, so that was great, and she was really happy, but it wasn't quite gone. So she discovered that she needed to take care of herself. I mean, she came out, everyone's different. Every body story is really different, unique. So her story was that she had a very abusive father, and her answer as a little girl was to make everybody happy. So this carried on as an adult. Her way to behave was make everyone happy, and that's great, but it went to the point of her back pain. So she realized that she has to take care of herself. She has to make distance from the things that trigger her. she recognized that if she keeps just saying yes, yes, yes to everybody, she's going to get back pain. So she started to swim more. She did more things for herself and more loved up things for herself. And then her stopped. Her back pain stopped coming because all the reasons that created it. She made the change. I didn't tell her to don't see that person in your life or go to the gym more. I teach someone to get in tune with yourself, listen to your own signals, listen to your body messages. That pain is a message. Pain is a message that wants to be heard.
So would you say that in her case, then that pain, was it a physical thing that was happening because she was stressed, or was it more emotional based, that it was somehow altering her, pressuring her muscles? Because I have heard that long distance emotions from even your childhood can suddenly reappear and cause physical outlet in your body.
Definitely, all of the above.
Right, all of the above. So I was going to ask, what
Yeah.
sort of breadth of symptoms can you look or deal with? Because obviously certain pains all over the body, presumably. But what about things like colds and sniffles, or inflamed glands and thyroid issues and those sort of more chronic long-term things?
Yeah, definitely. Anything physical that you're not happy about, that you want to get rid of.
Right.
So, at the essence, what my method is it's about alignment. And when you're in alignment, your body kicks into its natural balance. Your body's always trying to be healed. If you scratch yourself, then your body will start healing straight away.
Right.
If you get a headache, you feel you want to rest or drink some more water or get out the sun or something. So, it's when you do things that make yourself more comfortable, make you happy, and what I teach is specifically connecting to the problem, and through that you get your answers. So, what sort of things? I'm a natural healer, but I love sort of physical things. I like to see a clear evidence. So I specialize in physical conditions. But I have been using this method for people with anxiety, with past childhood traumas, with insomnia, with spasms, and social problems, social stresses and concerns. So I would say anything out of line. I call it out of alignment. So if you're not happy about something, it tells me that you're out of alignment, and you can use it for that. The specific conditions that I've helped people with is full body arthritis. One lady was bedridden with it, and
Wow.
within 4 to 6 weeks, she was pain free. She was
Good
bedridden,
gracious.
and after a few days, she started to feel improvements. Um,
And if she hadn't have come to somebody like yourself, she could have remained in that bed pretty much permanently.
She could have, because we're told there's no cure. We're
Right.
told to take drugs for the rest of your life, or there's nothing can be done,
Hmm.
or learn to live with it. And it just makes me cry because it's not true in my experience.
Yes.
You know,
So,
I had a nurse the other day who had 9 months of cold, painful feet, and she tried everything. She tried tramadol and morphine patches. She had constant pain in her feet. She tried woolly socks every night and everything. And the only thing that worked a bit was a vibration machine she put her feet on. And but as soon as she stopped using it, pain came back. And she started using my method. And within 10 minutes, she had warm, toasty feet. And
wow.
that's a nurse. We're not taught to listen to our signals and do the correct things. We're taught to, that's a problem, get rid of it. And that's a massive mistake.
Yes, I suppose it's a bit like thinking of yourself like a car, that when something goes wrong, you have to go to the garage, and the garage will fix you and will change that part and put another part in. But we're not cars. And I think the big thing that you mentioned there, that I really don't think that a lot of people quite fully get, that the body on the whole is healing itself, wants to heal itself.
Yeah,
It's part of all the time. It's not sort of by accident that your blood, if you graze yourself, that it scabs over, unless you're one of those people who can't. But it's not by accident that happens. The body is trying to heal itself and keep itself
Yeah.
in optimum. And it's only us, mostly,
Yeah.
or our environment that we might be forced in, that is actually damaging ourselves. So there's constant
Exactly.
toxins coming out, as far as I understand.
There is, but there's also something that's mindset. We're not just physical, as you say. Yes, there are toxins, and you can get sunburns, or there are toxins everywhere in the food and all that. But there's so many parts of us. There's our mindset, what our beliefs are, and what you understand about your body or your life, what's going to affect you. I mean, my auntie, she takes every medication going, and she's
Oh,
very
bless.
happy with every operation. But she's got a really solid mindset of I'm not going to die. That's it.
Right. Oh, okay.
So she's resolute. I mean, I don't know what's under the surface of what's the actual details of what she's been through, but she's got a very strong mindset. But if you believe you're going to catch colds, you catch colds every winter, you probably will.
Mm.
And so we have emotions, we have our life experiences. It all goes into the pot. We have our physical body, and it all works together. You know, if
So if you're
somebody,
if you're a miserable old fool, and as you say, and you always think that my dad was a little bit like that. He was what do they call it? Somebody who's always permanently thinking he's going to get a cold. I forget the term now.
hypochondriacs,
Hypochondriac. That's the one. And he would hate it, if anybody around him had a cold. Oh, no, you can't come in. You can't come in because, we're getting a bit old now, and we'll catch it, and it will be awful, and all of that. But so he was constantly, but he wouldn't take pills, which was interesting. He hated pills. So he played the avoidance game. So he was very much a hermit. No one was allowed him. If you had the slightest hint or you sneeze, it's like, get out, I'm not having you in. All those germs and all of that.
yeah,
But so if you are of that mindset, if you're miserable or you're very stressed, you're more likely to express different types of symptoms. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, it can be. I mean, some people come to me and it doesn't work for them, but they don't do the actions that's needed.
Right.
Or they perhaps they're thinking, I'm going to fix them, they've got to do this thing, it'll go away, but
Yes.
that thing is attached to them. That's their physical expression of them. There was one lady who she had back pain as well, and her grandchildren were coming over, and oh, I can't do that thing, I've got my grandchildren coming over, I'm very, very busy. I said, well, that's when the pain happens. So there's something in that. What is it about being very, very busy and give and grandchildren? And that's when you get your back pain. So, we always have choice. We always have free will. We always have, sometimes we're crazy human beings. We just suffer for, I don't know, for something. we're martyrs a bit, I think, sometimes. Or maybe we need to go through a lesson of something. So that can be in there as well. Or maybe this stuff isn't in the belief system of somebody, so it just won't make sense. They just won't engage. So when you align, you kind of work with the mind, the emotions, and the body all together. I mean, my thing works from very practical, obvious, straightforward action. It's very simple, and your body shows you what the problem is. So, say for example, you have colds all the time. Well, how does it make you feel? When does it come? How does it affect you? Now you're starting to step into the reasons your body is creating colds, and you'll start to recognize your patterns and your thinking when you tune into you, when you listen to your own messages. So your father was obviously comfortable doing the avoidance game, and that suited him. So that probably made him more comfortable, I'm assuming, and hopefully, stopped him having bugs and things.
Well, it did. I mean, he wasn't that ill very frequently. I think it was more he was so worried. He used to be a bit of a worry about all sorts of things. And I guess because he ran his own business, and mostly it was only him. Occasionally he had employees, or he employed people, and then it's different phases. So if he was indisposed, then he wouldn't be able to fulfill the
Oh,
contracts. And I think, those sort of worries. And I know from myself in the past as an entertainer, because before I got doing all of this, I used to be an entertainer, and people would say, "Oh, we're going on a skiing holiday, or we're going on a some adventure thing," and I would think to myself, "Oh, I couldn't possibly do that, because if I broke a leg and I've got this gig next week and I've got to be juggling and unicycling and things, I would worry that, okay, I can't do anything adventurous." So I would have walking holidays and things, which actually I very much enjoyed. So it wasn't too much, but I couldn't go hang gliding or bungee jumping or all those things for fear that it might. But it didn't affect my health, because I was quite happy to go
yeah,
walking. And the fact that
yeah.
I could easily trip on a tree root and do just as much damage, didn't occur to me at the time. So it is a bit of a strange thing.
Yeah, so you took choice, took choice and feel it was right for you, and it had direct consequences that you're keeping yourself safe. Because if your work scuppers up, then that's going to affect your bills and your life and whatever else. So
Yes.
you took choices and decisions. Like that girl with the back was trying to make everybody happy. She took decisions, but that was more of a health thing. But we always have choice. We always have free will. And so what I see is that people, look for solutions for their problem, but then going to sort of a bigger picture of it, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, everything's working perfectly. Even if it feels like it's not, and I say this, and I'm sure, it makes people think, "Oh, I'm suffering. What are you talking about?" But your body is always giving you signals, and it's always trying to be in balance. So, for example, if as you said, if you're getting colds all the time, there's reasons why your body does that, and you might just have colds all the time, and there it is, and you suffer it, and you get on with life, and it's not a problem. But you might like to unlock the reasons you are suffering,
Hmm.
and if you want to do that, then you can. And when you do that, you come into alignment. You come into like self-awareness. It's a form of self-love. You connect to you meditate every day. You tune into what you're doing. You notice when you have a problem. And I often have people who have tried everything, and they've had it for ages. They had it months and years, some problem. So they're looking for a solution, but they haven't managed to sort it out. And that's when it's usually, well, they're holding it in place by no fault of their own, that they by something is holding it in place.
Hmm.
And that's when self-awareness kind of things is fantastic, because and you can start with just by describing the problem. If you're somebody who has arthritis, how does it describe it, how it makes you feel, how does it feel right now? And then you start opening up to what's going on, because it's not your body. The body is not the problem. I teach people it's a message that wants to be heard. So we have to get away from get rid of that thing, fix it, because that
Right.
doesn't work. And you can try that. If you don't believe me, you can
Hmm.
try to fix it. If you manage to make it improve, like drugs or operations or whatever, it'll pop up somewhere else. It'll pop up through anxiety, or maybe a heart condition, or something.
So
The mess.
the thing is, we've been. I mean, what you're talking about there is incredibly well-rounded, wholesome, and makes perfect sense. But
Perfect.
we've grown up in this world in which we've not been taught to listen to ourselves. I think most people are ignorant that actually we can heal ourselves. That's number one, I
Yeah,
think. And
right.
second
Mm.
is that we don't see these illnesses or whatever they are that are manifesting as a sign for us to do something about, other than, oh, I've got this boil, or I've got toothache, or I've got whatever it is, I need to go and get it fixed. Then I can get back straight back to my busy life, because we've all been so busy. So this is, I think, one of the problems, is it not? Because
Yeah.
people say, oh, I don't trust the NHS, but where can I go for my very quick fix that I've been trained to imagine it is? And of course, most people, my mum would demand from her doctor that she had a what's the thing that they the antibiotic. she worked out in her latter years that it was the antibiotics that the doctors were giving her. So she would just demand it. She would come in and say, well, I just need some antibiotics. That's what it is. I just need these antibiotics. Because it was, to her, that was it. She had no intention of changing herself or even recognizing that half of these problems were self-inflicted. She was an alcoholic, I have to hasten, so she had all sorts of crippling things happening to her, bless her. But she couldn't see beyond the symptom and couldn't see. So I imagine that half of your job is just educating people to their own bodies and their mindset.
Definitely a big part of it. And that people come to you with a condition. They come to me with a red hot condition that's absolutely awful. It's affecting their lives and they want to get rid of it. So that's where we start. And I show them how to be pain free. But then as soon as you start connecting to the body's message, that the symptoms, then you'll start to connect to the reason it's there. So maybe your mum didn't want to change. Maybe it suited her to take antibiotics. It fixed her to the degree she was happy with, and off she went. Happy girl, off she went. So to some people it suits them, and that's fine. But then if you want to clear it and stop it coming back, you have to listen. It's like learning about yourself, and it is an important part of it. If somebody hates going outside in the cold, but they have to keep going outside in the cold because of their job or whatever, or they live in a cold country, so every single time they go out, they're going to be unhappy to some level. It might go to the point of getting depressed about it, or anxious, or mad at everything. So that's going to affect their behavior and their emotions, and that might cause spots and boils and annoy everybody, and all that one down the road, they're annoying, and they might take creams, but it can't go away. Nothing will change unless we address ourselves. And you're right. I think I mean, I was brought up in England as well, and I was brought up with Betnavate and Savlon and antibiotics and all the rest of it. So I've very slowly changed over the years. Even I'm in the natural health business, and gradually, I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. And I mean, I was studying and working about 10 years in, when I had an epiphany of healing. In my personal life, I was dumped, and my whole life, kind of stopped, and it cracked me emotionally in this time. And in my professional life, I became super sensitive. I started to see through bodies and sense people's feelings and see their past lives. I became ultra sensitive, and in that time, I suddenly clicked, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is how healing works. You just have to connect to you. That's it. I discovered something was life changing. And
how do you deal with sorry to jump in there, but how do you deal with children who may have certain issues? I mean, at the moment, there's a lot of children with all sorts of mental disorders, or they're on the spectrum of something. There's overactive children, or children with autism or ADHD, or children who have been damaged possibly by some form of medical intervention, or children who have been perhaps in their life, they're just not integrating into society, and they're very insular. How do you, and so there may not be an actual symptom to look at like a boil, but a parent might say, look, I'm really worried about my child because of this reason and that reason. How do you approach that as a natural healer?
Well, it's not my speciality, so it's
Right.
to me, if you're asking me, it's a big question, big answer. There's lots of avenues. You'd have to look at the child, look at the family, the parenting, what the whole story. But it's not my speciality. I don't
Right. Oh, okay.
the behaviorisms of children, but I've taken children through my method for. I specialize in physical things. And I have worked with children with physical things, but children are very quick. They pick it up just like that. I was just walking along. My little darling daughter had a pain in her ankle, and I said, "Well, come on, let's do my methods." And within moments, it had gone. So I find children are really quick. And the only reason we don't get the results we want straight away is that we're adults and we've got story and stuff. And it's nobody's fault. It's just we've got maybe opinions or training, and as you say, like, Western medicine training of medicine. And if I was another way, I would have taken her perhaps to the doctor, or
Right.
perhaps, put a foot up or something, or put ice on it or something. But your body works in sync with your emotions, with your thoughts, with your body. Your body's not just a box we walk around in. It's a living, being, physical thing of you. It's a physical version of you, and
Yes.
so it's not my specialist area. I mean, most people I work with, they usually come to me with a physical thing that they're struggling with, that they've
Right.
tried everything, they're open to natural ways, and they want something that works.
So can
And
you? Sorry, again jumping in. I was going to say you refer to your method. Can you sort of outline how it works, what it is?
and it's called the pain-free methods, and it's a three-step process of healing. So the first bit is to get rid of the pain, get rid of the
Right.
arm pain, because clearly, if someone's using it, they're suffering with something physical. So the first thing is to learn how to get rid of physical pain.
So if I've banged my elbow and maybe I've damaged the bone a bit or bruised it or something, and every time, and this has happened in the past, it's gone now, but it's happened, you go, oh, it's like that tennis elbow thing or something, and it's just really irritating.
Yeah.
So if that was that if I came to you with that, how would you deal with that sort of thing?
Well, you'd learn how to stop the pain, and I teach you how to do that, how to connect to the pain in a way that it goes. That's what you learn. So it starts to work straight away. You feel into it, you connect with it.
Is this like a mental process or an
Um,
acupuncture process or?
it's how to connect with the pain in a way that it goes. So
Right.
it's kind of using mental focus. So you're using your mind in a specific way. So if I said, go and make your tea, what do you want for tea? And you'd say, well, I want chips and eggs and whatever it is. And you're almost thinking of the chips and the eggs. You can almost smell it and taste it, and what time you're going to do it, and have you got any in the fridge? And so you're coming up with thought. You're almost salivating, and
Hmm.
you've almost got it on your plate. So it's a way of focusing directly on the pain and the problem directly, so that it goes. So pain is like a separation. Pain is a alarm signal, like something's going wrong. You've hurt your elbow, something's happened. You've damaged it. The bruising's happening. It's painful. It's still just physical, and when it's like a separation. So when you connect to the problem, you're engaging your thoughts, you're engaging your mind, you're engaging your thinking. Of course, your emotions are somewhere in there as well, and that's a kind of coming back together. You're aligning yourself. This is
Right.
aligning. When you connect to the problem, you're bringing yourself back together, and then your body will sort it out. Your blood flows there. You'll go into relaxation a little bit. The blood will flow more better. um, you're focusing on the problem. You might be touching it and holding it and maybe lifting it up or something, so that's going to help you. But what you're doing is you're enabling the body to heal.
So are you saying that you're somehow defocusing the pain in a way that you're separating the pain from the limb in that case?
No,
No.
you're fully engaging into it. You're fully engaging. You might have the pain shooting up to the arm, the limb,
Right.
and
So
you
I'm
may
not
have
quite sure how you stop that, because if you've done something, you're
ah
going, oh God, that's excruciating every time I put it down there. I mean,
yeah.
it is a bit like the old Tommy Cooper gag, isn't it? Every time I do this, my arm hurts. Well, don't do it then. Oh right, okay, fair enough. You know,
Exactly.
but obviously we still have to use our arms or whatever
Yeah,
it is sometimes, or it's just something that continually stings, and you
yeah.
don't know what to do about it. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by.
Because that's because you're thinking about it and trying to figure it out. But
Right.
your body isn't a mind. Your body does physical stuff.
Yes.
So you don't figure out or fix anything. Your body does that. Your body heals the skin. Your body flows blood. your body sends the endorphins around and everything.
Yes, but
So
you're just blatantly aware of the pain because you're
yeah,
going, oh God, this is so painful. I don't know what to
yeah.
do with myself. How are you switching off that pain so it is pain free? I'm not quite with you there.
It will be pain free. So look, you've already touched your elbow there. So you're already connecting, and
Right.
connection is the key. So your body can't work without you. Your body's not a separate bit of you. It's a piece. It is you.
Mm.
So your body needs your engagement. It needs you to focus. It needs you to put your hand there. It needs you to not bump into things. It needs you
Yes.
to feed it well. So your signals are happening all the time of I'm hungry, can you feed me? And I need to lie down, can you lie down? Your signals are there all the time. So when we do something like a bash or an accident, it's exactly the same. It's exactly, maybe you were clumsy at that moment, but why were you clumsy in that moment? Maybe your balance is not there, maybe you're tired, maybe you're overworked, maybe you're not thinking straight because you've got a lot on your mind. So there's always something behind it.
So I mean, I banged my head about a year ago now, or 6 months, it doesn't matter. But I was picking up logs. Somebody very kindly offered me some logs for my wood burning stove, and I went to pick these logs. Now in my van, there's a catch where the doors come back, and there's a very sharp point. And as
Mm,
I'm stepping up into the van, I bashed my head, extremely painful, and it
yeah.
took a big gash out for ages.
Mm,
And people, anybody who's watched my videos for any length of time, may have spotted it on my head. And of course, my instinct was to place my hand on there because I thought it was gushing blood, but I had taken off the skin, and it was just raw, but it was very, very painful. So at
yeah.
first there was this huge amount of pain, and I'm clamped my hand on here, and I've got rid of the log, and and everyone's with me is going, "Oh, Richard, are you all right?" And I'm going, "No, I'll milk this for a bit." No, I wasn't milking, but you're in pain, and then eventually it does subside, but then it stings. But
Yeah.
are you saying that's? I still. I'm kind of expecting that you have done some mumbo jumbo to make it sort of go bing. It's all pain
Well, your
free.
well, your body had extreme amounts of pain, and then
Yes.
it went down and it went to stinging. So already it's healing, isn't it? It's
Right.
not staying in a huge
It's
amount
not
of pain.
right. Yes.
And you've dropped the logs. You've paid attention to it because you can't really not
You,
pay attention to
no.
it. Your body has quite clearly said, "Stop."
Yeah.
So you've
Deal with
dropped the
this.
logs. You've probably sat down. You've put your hand on your head. You're getting support from people around you. You're starting to think. So it's already reducing it. Your body's already taken it from a huge amount of pain to down to stinging. So if you were going to continue to help it, you would just sit there quietly, keep connecting to the stinging, and it will go at some points. It takes as long as it takes to heal.
Mm.
And your body does it though. You're paying attention. You're giving it support. You're paying attention to it. You stopped. Um, you did what your body needs. You probably stopped the gash getting worse or blood coming, perhaps.
Right.
So you prevented it getting worse. But the main thing is you paid attention to it, and then you gave it attention. And but you see, your body's already started healing you.
Yes. So you said
That's
this
it.
was stage one, but the first
Yeah,
bit is paying attention to it. What's the
yeah.
next bit then?
Well, if it still hurt, does it still hurt these days?
No, 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 no. I mean,
Still gone.
that healed, but I mean, the
Yeah.
lovely Julia had a problem with her elbow, and it just went. It just would not go away, and as
Ah,
she got tired, it was continually there, and
yeah,
it would get her down because it was this
yeah,
continual. And it would come and go, certain times of the day it would be worse, and other times it
yeah,
would be almost forgotten until she did something, and then, oh God, here it is again.
yeah. So that's when the story comes in. That's when you need to, the connection is missing. The reason it's there, the connection to the reason it's there is missing. So you did something, it's all fixed up, job done. So that's
Right.
all fine now. But for Julia, when it keeps coming back and it keeps reminding her, there's a story in there. So she needs to connect with it. And as she connects with it, the connection itself is all it takes, but then you need to do helping things. You need to maybe she needs, whatever comes up for her, that's what you address. So um, it doesn't sound logical. I know it doesn't sound logical, and it's not, because the body wants your attention. physical pain is a split of energy. It's a signal to say something's wrong. So what do? Like you did with your big bash, you paid attention to it immediately. You connected with it. You did something. You sat down. You just stopped what you're doing. You did things. In that time, your body's starting to heal. So when it comes back, or it's permanent, or it's just not going away, there's story in there. You're not listening to something, and it's not people's fault. It's, you know, we don't know this. But one client I was working with, she said, it's not that it's unusual or different. It's just we don't do it. We just don't connect to our signals. We just don't.
But I suppose some people will be thinking, how do you connect to it? Because she was in certain pain that after months of this, she thought, well, maybe I need a steroid injection to sort of fill what was going in on the bone or the cartilage or whatever it was. And so she was already sort of thinking of medical interventions,
of course,
as they say. And so I'm trying to sort of get into my head, what do you mean by the story? Because, you know, she may have bumped it originally, but so how do you get to that?
So everyone's unique. So I'd have to speak to Julia, but she might say it's always hurting. Or so, well, what's always hurting in you? And it might be the same place, or she might say, what's always hurting? Oh, on Tuesday last week, I bashed myself. That was always hurting. That, you know, she might come up with a story from the past, perhaps, or maybe not. Maybe it's just always hurting. It's all in the same place. So then I take you through breathing techniques to relax your body, to soften your body. It's all about giving the body what it needs to function properly.
Right.
And so when it's a story, you can start with describing the problem. Just describe the problem, and you're actually describing the story, the reason it's there. So she said it's always hurts. So where is did I say that maybe? But where is always hurts in you? And then you're starting to connect with the story, and that's what you need to be doing to stop it returning. Otherwise,
so when you say where does it hurt in you, it could be not so much.
Not where does it hurt. Where's the thing the person says? So ask Julia, how does it hurt? How does it feel? You know, ask her to describe it. And that same description, and the way that she describes the problem, then you take that description and you ask, you know, where is that in you?
And what do you mean by that? Where is it in you? Because you would go, well, it's here, isn't it? It's where
it might be in the same place, and that is indicative that it's something really acute, something really acute in them. So you're not just physical; you're also emotional. You're also mental. So trying to understand this, you won't get anywhere. You'll come up against blanks each time, because it's not a thinking thing. It's a physical thing. Like when you bashed your head, it's a physical thing. That pain made you do that, made you drop logs, made you sit quietly, or whatever you did next. And what you did helped the body to heal. You didn't pump the blood around. You didn't fix the skin.
No, not consciously.
Not consciously, but your body does it. Your body flows blood and it fixes the skin. And mentally, you might think, well, I won't do that again. I'll watch out for that thing next time.
So I suppose what I'm trying to get to is, when you say, where does it hurt in you? Is it like it was some trauma somewhere else in life? Like, are you saying, you know, maybe you were miserable because your dad used to beat you up? Or
it could be.
It could be. Yeah, I'm just exploring all the possibilities. Not, because I'm just using Julia as an example, because I don't actually know quite, you know, and that's in the long distance past. But I'm just trying to sort of allow you to explain it so the listener watching, or the viewer watching, can kind of understand what you mean by where does it hurt in you, other than here. Is it a historical thing? Do you? Yeah, well,
it's very unique. So it's difficult to say a general thing, because it won't make sense to each person.
No, right.
The way to start is to connect with your pain and describe it. Describe the problem, how it feels, and that is the same description for the reason it's there. So, you know, when things happen and they go away, job done. Like your badge. It's okay. But when things come back, or they're trying to get rid of something that won't go, that means there's a story in there. That means you're holding on to it for some reason. You might not even be conscious of it. Like that girl with the abusive father. she got a certain amount of pain relief doing the connection to it, but it wouldn't go because she wasn't connecting with the reason it's there.
Right.
And then as she connected to the problem, she realized she's always saying yes to everybody, and then she gets backache, and then she went click, she got it. So from that point, when she really truly got it, why she was suffering her back pain, and she realized her behaviors was that, then she started to spend more time on caring for herself and went swimming and all that. She started to say no more often because she knew it would lead to back pain. Not the helping, but for her, she, going back to her childhood, she would say yes to everybody, make everybody happy. That was her thing. So it's a deep emotional story for her.
Yeah.
It's not always like that. Like
No.
my daughter had that ankle pain. She just connected to the pain, and in a couple of minutes it was gone. So
But
it can be.
some people that they are very like the lady you just described, who was always trying to appease everybody. Some people just continually sort of, if they've got a busy family, for example, and they might suffer all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've said to people, sometimes in order to be useful to other people, you've got to actually look after yourself first, because if you're not in tip-top condition, how can you look after other people? So sometimes, people forget to spoil themselves, and that spoiling themselves might just be sitting down for half an hour and reading a book, whatever it is, to sort of clear their mind. So what's the third step in your process?
So the third step is that kind of thing, being the you want to be.
Right.
Being the you want to be. So when you are fulfilling yourself in all the ways that makes you happy, you're much less likely to attract the stuff that doesn't make you happy and sends you to the direction of chronic conditions. And you would have been through the first 3 stages of learn to get rid. So as soon as you feel problems in your body, like Julie with her elbow, whatever someone's got, you address it immediately, connect with it immediately. And then it might go in a couple of minutes, it might go in 45 minutes, or maybe a day, or maybe it's really stubborn. So then the next stage is connecting to the root cause. So it stops it building up. You start to recognize your patterns and why you're suffering. And that's the meaty side of healing. That's when you have real change. And then the third stage, you're going to, on purpose, make yourself fill your cup in the way that makes you happy. And then when you're full of that vibe, everything just pings off you. It just does. And then if you do get something, because, life happens and things happen, you go back to, connect with the first step, which is you might get an aching back or whatever it is. You'll connect with it or do something to support your healing. So you're caring for yourself and you're paying attention to what's happening for you. Because half the time, most of us don't realize what's going on in us. And when I was working in the clinics, I was doing hands-on shiatsu and massage, and often people would say, "Oh, I didn't realize that was a bit stiff there, and that's a bit sore." And half the time we just rush around our lives and busy, and we don't stop to think. So that's a part of it as well. Daily meditation is really, really important, and caring for yourself and listening to your signals. And they're there all the time. They're telling you, screaming. Your instincts are screaming out at you all the time.
Yes.
I mean, that time you bashed yourself on that thing, I didn't know what was going on for you, but you may have been distracted in those times. Or
yes. I mean, pure that on that particular instant, it was purely an accident because we were just loading this stuff in. It was pouring with rain, and I've known this. I'm always ducking. I just didn't duck sufficiently in order to do this. But I can absolutely get that in this modern life of ours, we, as we said earlier, we're not really taught to listen to our bodies and listen. And that seems to me, from what our conversation is going, is something that we need more to do. You mentioned breathing exercises, and I'm very fascinated by breathing because to me, I know there's yogic breathing and there's Wim Hof with his techniques and there's all of these different styles. So can you tell us a bit about how breathing is good for us?
Well, the way that I teach, it's very straightforward. It's just deep and slow. You can go to specialist breathing and to yogic breathing and learn all about those things, which is amazing, and so many benefits from that. But I want to make I like to make things really straightforward and simple.
Hmm.
So you connect with the pain and you just breathe deep and slow, and you have to soften your body, take a nice deep breath all the way in and out. So what you're doing is you're enabling your body to function. It's all about enabling the body. Your body's
Right.
got a problem. Your body's got that elbow pain. Your body's got that arthritis or endometriosis or ankle pain or hip pain or knee pain. Your body's got the problem. So you pay attention to the message. You connect with it in the way that it goes. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I completely understand your frustration. It sounds like, and
Well,
because it doesn't
I
make
tell you one thing I
sense.
do because if I get pain, and I've had tooth pain and certain aches, and what I tend to do, and this is just me being me, is I will usually at night time in bed, I'll breathe slowly, and on my outward breath, I no, on my inward breath, I picture the wherever the pain is, which is causing me trouble, and I imagine a white light encasing that area. And then as I breathe out, I imagine that the pain and the toxins, whatever it is going away. And I do
Amazing.
that for about 10 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on my concentration levels. Often I fall asleep, you see.
Yeah.
But I'll do that very slowly and very rhythmically. Now, my dad used to do yogic breathing, so I sort of got a little bit from him. And I
Wow.
would breathe in through the nose, but I would breathe out. I've since learned that breathing out through the nose is most important and not
Yeah.
breathing out through the mouth.
Yeah.
And I find that really very powerful. I find that that really works. And
Perfect.
and yeah, so in that instance when I would do that, yeah, I would sit down and I would then be, I mean, I do it now automatically,
Yeah.
where I'm sort of concentrating on the pain and I'm telling my body to make the pain go, and that sort of works. It works for me. Now, whether it worked for
Perfect.
anybody else, I have no idea. And
Yeah.
I,
Perfect. And so in that breathing, so where you're focusing, you're connecting with the body,
right.
and you don't even have to say to your body what you want. You know what you want, and your body works as a body, knows what to do, it knows how
Mm,
to create blood and everything. So in that moment you're connecting, and as you're breathing, you're actually sending endorphins around your body because you are softening your body as you breathe. You're bringing yourself into your focus of breathing. So your focus is not out, it's into relaxation mode. So that allows the blood to flow properly. So the body gets space to function. And then, your stress levels would have gone down. So that stops the adrenaline. And the opposite starts happening. The endorphins start coming in, and your body goes into healing mode. um
right.
your body heals all the time, all the time. It's just that we don't, as you say, we sort of miss the point. We miss the message, or we can feel it, but what do we do about it?
Mm,
And
mm,
that's what I want to be. I feel I'm an ambassador for, well, this is what you do. You connect with it, and this is how you do it. And that's what I teach, and it's extremely effective. I mean, like, I was working with a guy who had tooth problem, and he came to me like that, and he said it's off the scale pain,
mm.
and he said he had a lot of problems with his teeth, and he normally gets it cut out, gets them out, and he booked the appointment with the dentist, and I worked with him for 45 minutes, and the pain went down from off the scale, and he said it reduced, and that evening it went down to a 3, and the
Wow.
next day it had gone, completely gone, and this is a tooth he thought was going to having to be pulled, you know.
Gosh.
And so
That,
your body is amazing. If
mm.
you do the right actions, your body responds just like that. It's our perhaps our beliefs that get in the way of our body naturally healing. Our body doesn't think that's why it doesn't make sense. But we know that our hair just grows, or
Mm,
um, if we cut ourselves, we know that even if you're poorly, at some point your body's going to try to heal. So at some point it's going to heal, even if it's slow, even if you're
mm.
not very well, it's still going to try to get you healed. We know all this stuff, so our minds get in the way. And I think in the West we think too much, and well, I don't know too much. We analyze things, and we want to fix it. We want to make it go away so we can get on with things. But then we can do that. But if it's a message that wants to be heard, a signal or alarm that needs our attention, like that girl with the past, if she continues to keep saying yes to everybody, if she continues to not listen to herself and not pay attention to her needs, the back pain will still go there. And she
Yes.
came to me when, at the point when the doctor was just giving her endless painkillers, and she was faced with an operation, and she didn't want that. So she found me, that she wanted to find a way that she was looking for options. And that's when she did my method, and she got 70%, and then down that road. So yeah, we don't listen to our natural signals, but they're there all the time.
Yes.
When you need to go for a wee, when you need to sit down or sleep.
There must be other things like things that people don't think about. I mean, I'm thinking now of things like water. I mean, filtered water, clear, not water without all the toxins and various things that are in commercial water, shall we say. And I know that, I watched a video not so long ago, and I forget the lady, but she was saying what we desperately need to do a lot of the time is to have some Celtic sea salt with a glass of water, so that it gets into the cells better, because that's what the salt does. We've been told that salt is supposed to be very bad for us, and that table salt is, but Celtic sea salt with something like 88 minerals and things that we're not getting into our body. And she just talked about one woman who had arthritis, and she said, look, how much do you drink? And she said, well, not very much, because she was an old lady and worried about her having an accident. And so she said, look, do this, takes this, and apparently after a week she was just able to use her fingers and hands and got rid of all of it, because she was just dehydrated. So presumably you must see people where, I mean, as well as all of what you've said with that, but just simple things like being hydrated properly is a key thing.
Definitely. So, I take people through these key 3 steps. So it's get rid of the pain, support the body and clear the reasons it's there, and then become the person that you want. But in between all that, I'm not a nutritionist, but no. I certainly encourage people to listen to the signals of your body, and that includes water. So your signals, when you're dry in the mouth, it means you're already 5% down of need. Right. So your body calls your attention to the thirst when it's 5% down. So I'm all in the sort of focus of listen to your signals and respond. Do what your body needs. Do what you need.
Yes. Do you find people struggle with that because they're not used to knowing what their body means, and they're dry in the mouth? They may not immediately think, oh, I need water. They may just go, I just got this very furry tongue, and I just...
Yeah. I mean, everyone's different. I mean, one lady, she hated water. So, but she's thirsty. So your body is calling for the need. So there's something there might be a story in there. Why don't you drink when you're thirsty? So what is that? How does it feel when you're thirsty? What is it about not drinking when you're thirsty? And I find that people come up with their story. Oh, I hated water because my mum was always forcing me to drink water, or blah, blah, or something like this. That sort of thing often comes up. And then you can't go against your nature. You can't go against your triggers and your patterns and things you've been brought up with. It's practically impossible, because you kind of own that way. But what you can do is it's like bringing a mirror up to you. So say, for example, somebody doesn't drink, and they say it's their mother, and then then you connect with that. You connect with that feeling, that memory within you. It's always within you. Healing is always within. And when you connect to that story within you, or that feeling within you, or that memory within you, then that's where the release is. Once you've connected with it, is the magic key. When you connect to the problem within you, it automatically resolves, because what is pain? Pain is a separation of some sort. Right. It's a distancing of some sort, energetically split. So when you pay attention to the messages, or the memories, or the trauma, or whatever it is that's going on for you, then it automatically, that's alignment. By connecting to the problem within you, That is alignment. And you don't have to think about it. It just works. It's the way that you're made. You don't have to make sense of it even. You might like to. Making sense of things might be important to you. So that's important. But connecting to it is where the release happens, because you're coming into alignment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I think what we've been expressing for the last nearly an hour now, which has been brilliant, is the fact that the body heals itself, that we can do something about it. We have to listen to our bodies, and we don't have to just think of the body as a commodity that you just bung in some pills and it gets back. It's much more than that. You clearly have to be, when you're working with your patients, a little bit of a detective to sort of find out what's going on and see if there's a deeper meaning and all of that. But what's been really uplifting for me is, in a way, it is so simple. Yes. And we've overcomplicated things by thinking things are far more complex than they really are.
Definitely.
And that we've got to get back to that simple thing, because, here we are as human beings. We have this incredible body that actually we don't need to know how it works as such. We just need to know that it does, and it will repair itself. Unless, of course, you've had a road traffic accident, of course, when you need proper intervention to assist you. But then after that, you're healing from there. Your body is then going, okay, you've fixed my leg, you've straightened this, got the bones and all the vessels are sewn up. That's great. Now I can get on and do most of the healing again, and all of that, and you work out how to get rid of your pain. So this has been really good. So people can start to think about, actually, I don't necessarily need to conventional ways, because actually that might be limiting me, and that the more natural way, the way that we've always done in the past, we've looked for alternative things, and a much more natural way. And there may be other, as you said, with acupuncture and various other things, and then of course there's all the herbalism and various other bits and bobs that are all going to help. So this is brilliant. So hopefully we've inspired people, or you've inspired people to think, to think twice about just going, because we're in that time now where we've had this huge scare, and our trust has gone in so much of the GPs, their loyalty to big pharma, how the hospitals have turned people away when we had a rather large, important event going on 3 years ago when people were very worried. And actually, in a way, it's a good thing, because people can now think, actually, there are other ways of dealing with this which are more natural and more beneficial. So I'm really grateful for this wonderful conversation.
And you have it instantly in your body. And if you know how to do it, world's your oyster. You come back to happy and you every time.
So you have a website that people can go and find out about more things? I think you mentioned that you practice, and you might be offering some free therapy or a free session or something.
Yeah. So shall I say the name of the website?
Yes, please. I shall write it down, and then I shall put it also in the description.
Yeah, it's painfreedom.co.uk.
Nice and easy to remember.
Good.
How about that? Painfreedom.co.uk.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And you'll see that I offer an introductory session to talk about how the method works, the ABC of it, and what is it. So, some people, I know it's not for them. If somebody's going the mainstream route, then they probably won't like this sort of thing, I guess, but maybe they're open to it. But if they're into natural ways and they want something that works, and then I explain how it works, and it's a really good one to come and have a look, to explore, to see if it is for them. And then if they feel like they want my help and they're ready to start healing today, then I offer a free consultation. So we talk about what it is they want to get rid of, and I can explain how I can help and see what they want to do from there. And that's free. So
wow, free, ladies and gentlemen.
Free. And it's there are loads and loads of testimonials on there, and people might say, well, can you help me with arthritis? And there are a lot of people there, and lots of people with hip conditions and knees and ankles and rashes, skin rashes, and endometriosis, all sorts of things, migraines. So you might find somebody that has got your specific condition. But come
Brilliant.
and have a free consultation. Let's have a chat and see what you want to do going forward. And
Painfreedom.co.uk.
that's
There we
it.
go. Thank you so much, Althea, for talking to me
Thank you,
and
Richard.
going through the whole system.
Thank
And
you so
I'm absolutely convinced that people will be fascinated. And I think we're
much.
in an environment now where people are, not only are they looking for solutions, but they're beginning to realize that some of the solutions are much simpler than they thought. And we are taking back the responsibility for ourselves
Absolutely.
rather than handing it over to overpaid professionals who might be in the pay of big pharma and things like that. And
Exactly.
so
So I
that's
want
really good.
want to inspire people, just say that it is possible. Come and have a chat, have a
Yeah.
nosy around, and there is hope. Even if you've been suffering for years, come and have a look. Just come and have a chat, and I hope I've inspired people that it's possible to heal. It really is. I see it all the time.
Yeah, marvellous. Right, well, I've got to draw it to an end, unfortunately. But, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Another fascinating interview. Big thanks to Althea Finch. And I will be back with more interviews and my monologues as well. So, in the meantime, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And I will see you again from Althea and I. In the meantime, goodbye.